A heavy steel chain bites brutally deep into the hind leg of a frantic mother lynx, pinning her directly across the cold iron of a railway track as she thrashes wildly to reach her two trembling cubs. Marcus sprints toward the tracks, his heart hammering violently against his ribs, his lungs burning with every desperate stride. He feels the ground beneath his heavy boots start to vibrate. A train is coming. Time is running out. He drops his heavy gear bag onto the dirt and rips open the zipper, his hands shaking uncontrollably as he pulls out a massive pair of steel bolt cutters. The mother lynx turns her piercing, panicked eyes toward him. She is a pure, unadulterated apex predator, driven entirely by raw maternal instinct and excruciating physical pain. She bares her razor-sharp teeth, every muscle in her lithe body coiling like a tightly wound spring, ready to tear apart absolutely anyone who dares to come near her vulnerable babies. Marcus freezes in his tracks. He knows the sheer devastating power of those claws. He knows that one desperate swipe could end his life in a fraction of a second. Fear grips his chest, cold, heavy, and paralyzing. His survival instincts scream at him to back away, to leave the wild animal to her tragic fate. But then he looks past the ferocious, thrashing mother to the two tiny cubs huddled together in the nearby brush. They are shaking violently, their tiny bodies completely dependent on the very creature violently trapped on the deadly iron tracks. Marcus swallows the lump of terror in his throat. He takes a slow, agonizing step forward. He pushes down his own panic, forcing his breathing to slow down, making himself as small and non-threatening as physically possible. The lynx lunges forward with terrifying speed, the heavy steel chain snapping tight and yanking her back violently against the unyielding railway tie. Marcus flinches, his knuckles turning stark white as his grip tightens on the heavy steel handles of the bolt cutters. He drops to his knees, crawling forward over the unforgiving gravel. The vibrations in the steel rails are growing significantly stronger, traveling up through his kneecaps and rattling his very bones. He locks his gaze directly with the mother lynx. In a heart-stopping, unbelievable moment of pure, unspoken connection, the wild feline absolutely stops thrashing. Her chest heaves with sheer exhaustion, but she looks deep into Marcus's eyes, her gaze piercing right through him. She seems to process the heavy metal tool in his trembling hands, not as a weapon of destruction, but as a potential key to her freedom. She lowers her head. She stops fighting completely. She deliberately extends her fiercely trapped leg toward him, overriding millions of years of deeply ingrained, wild defensive instinct. She is making a conscious choice to trust a human being with her life. Marcus lunges forward, sliding the thick, heavy jaws of the bolt cutters over the rusted, stubborn links of the heavy chain. His muscles scream in absolute agony as he squeezes the massive handles with every single ounce of strength he possesses in his body. The metal is thick, unyielding, fiercely defying his desperate attempt. The vibrations in the ground suddenly turn into a violent, chaotic, and rhythmic shaking. The train is dangerously close, bearing down relentlessly on their position. Panic surges violently through Marcus's veins, flooding his system with pure adrenaline. He frantically adjusts his grip, gritting his teeth so hard his jaw aches, sweat violently stinging his eyes and blinding his vision. The mother lynx remains absolutely, perfectly still. Her golden eyes remain entirely fixed on his face, placing her entire existence and the future of her precious cubs squarely into his frantically trembling hands. Marcus shifts his footing, placing his entire body weight directly onto the heavy handles. He pushes and squeezes until his vision blurs at the edges. His shoulders burn, his back aches, but he refuses to let go. With a sudden, incredibly violent crack, the rusted steel link completely shatters. Marcus instantly throws his entire body backward, violently tumbling away from the tracks just as a massive, overwhelming force of displaced air slams brutally into his chest. The heavy train tears past them, a devastating, unstoppable blur of immense speed and crushing heavy machinery. Marcus lies flat on his back in the dirt, frantically gasping for air, his chest heaving violently, his mind wildly spinning out of control. Did he make it? Did she get away in time? He pushes himself up on intensely trembling arms, his muscles completely depleted. There, just at the edge of the sagebrush, completely untouched by the devastating force of the train. The mother lynx is frantically licking her two tiny cubs. The small felines press their tiny faces deeply into her thick fur, burying themselves entirely in their mother's safe, returning warmth. It is a gut-wrenching, remarkably awe-inspiring display of pure maternal love and desperate relief. Marcus feels a hot tear trace slowly down his dirt-streaked cheek. The sheer, overwhelming relief washes entirely over him, instantly releasing the crippling, heavy tension in his completely exhausted shoulders. The mother lynx suddenly pauses her frantic grooming. She slowly turns her head and locks eyes with Marcus once more. She doesn't run away into the safety of the brush. Instead, she takes 3 slow, incredibly deliberate steps right toward him. Marcus holds his breath, absolutely terrified to break the fragile magic of the moment. She lowers her majestic head in a profound, incredibly silent gesture of immense, unspoken gratitude, lingering for a long, heavy, emotional moment before gently turning back to her precious babies and guiding them safely away from the iron tracks. Marcus spends the next several weeks replaying that heart-pounding encounter in his head. The sheer weight of that wild trust changes something deep inside him. It fundamentally alters how he views the incredibly fragile line between human beings and the fierce, untamed wilderness. He goes back to his daily patrols, carrying the heavy memory of those golden eyes with him every single day. Fast forward exactly 8 months later, Marcus is patrolling a completely different, deeply isolated sector of the wilderness, miles and miles away from the dangerous railway tracks. He suddenly stops walking, a strange, uncanny feeling fiercely prickling the back of his neck. He feels an intense, unmistakable weight of eyes heavily watching him. He turns slowly, his hand instinctively reaching down toward his heavy utility belt. Standing less than 20 feet away, completely unhidden, is a magnificent, powerful, fully grown lynx. Marcus's heart leaps into his throat. It's her. He immediately recognizes the faint, slightly raised silver scar on her hind leg where the cruel chain had once bitten into her flesh. But she isn't alone, walking confidently right behind her. 2 robust, incredibly healthy adolescent lynxes step boldly out from the heavy foliage. The cubs he had saved are now strong, capable survivors. The mother lynx walks steadily and confidently directly toward Marcus. There is absolutely no aggression in her posture, no fear in her steady gait. She stops entirely, just inches away from the toes of his heavy work boots. Marcus falls completely still, utterly mesmerized by the unbelievable reality unfolding right in front of his eyes. She drops something heavy from her jaws directly onto the dirt freshly caught. Large hair. She looks up at his face, locking onto his eyes with that exact same intense, intelligent gaze from 8 months ago, and then gently nudges the offering directly toward his boots with her wet nose. It is a staggering, entirely unbelievable display of wild, untamed gratitude. She remembered his face perfectly. She remembered his specific scent. She had actively sought him out across miles of unforgiving wilderness just to proudly show him the beautiful lives he had directly saved, to willingly offer him a valuable share of her own family's hard-earned survival. She steps forward, incredibly gently pressing the side of her soft head directly against Marcus's trembling knee in a brief, shocking moment of pure affection. She lets out a low, deep, rumbling vibration in her chest, a powerful sensation Marcus can actually feel through his heavy pants, before finally turning around and proudly leading her fully grown cubs back into the deep, untamed wild. Marcus falls heavily to his knees in the dirt, completely and utterly humbled, gently touching the ground where she just stood. He stares at the incredibly precious gift left at his feet, his mind completely blown by the sheer depth of emotion, intelligence, and memory possessed by a creature born to be a fierce predator. This was not just a wild animal operating strictly on survival instinct. This was a profoundly sentient mother, holding on to a powerful memory of human kindness, returning to honor a deep, invisible bond forged in a moment of absolute life and death. It proves undeniably that compassion is a universal language, one that effortlessly transcends species, breaking through the barriers of wild instinct. And if this incredible story of survival, trust, and wild gratitude touched your heart today, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who truly loves animals.
Thanks for watching. If this little kitty warmed your heart, please like and subscribe for more sweet stories.